folks, and welcome to Drinking Alone with Friends, a podcast where three friends drink alone together. My name's Chris.
And I'm Todd.
And I'm Obert.
And I'd like to welcome you all to your new Thanksgiving tradition.
Yep, I can see it now. Everyone's sitting around the table. Grace has been said. Candles are lit. The turkey is carved. And you just quietly hit play in the corner. And now here we are joining you for Thanksgiving.
Oh, so they're going to listen to it during dinner.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I was expecting them to listen to it, I want them to listen to it with their undivided attention. So I'm thinking pre-dinner.
Why not both?
Right.
Well, because
Yeah.
I want their attention to be fully on our words and the smooth butteriness of my voice.
See, my thought on the whole thing was you want your Thanksgiving meal to be one of the best meals you're going to have all year. And, you got the
Right.
You got the delicious food, and what better to accompany it than an amazing podcast?
That is true.
Right. Yeah.
There's a good way to solve this. They should just listen to it back to back, before dinner and during dinner.
That's why I said, why not both?
Yeah, that was kind of exactly what Chris said.
I thought you meant why not both together.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. No. I mean, I think they should. It really, nothing brings a family together more than, three people talking about what they're drinking and entertaining them with banter. So.
Yeah, I think that's how the old saying goes.
Yeah. I think that was written on a stone or something.
Ancient proverb.
Yeah, there you go.
I just hope that when people are sitting around saying what they're thankful for, that everybody at the table's answer is Drinking Alone with Friend podcast.
The free stickers I got from my favorite podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All I had to do was #follow the email. They're so generous. So, yes, it is that week. It is Thanksgiving week. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to the West Coast, going to Olympia, Washington for Thanksgiving, a new tradition for myself. Going to go spend it with my aunt and uncle and cousins out there. So it'll be a good time.
Is this going to become a new yearly tradition, or is this just a one-off tradition, and the next year you're going to have a new one, and the year after that you're going to have another new one?
I think the thing about traditions is you don't know you're starting one until you've done it a couple times. So we'll see. We'll see where this brings me.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. I know, Tud, you partaked in a tradition that we all used to partake in just this past weekend. Isn't that right?
I did. It was the annual Running of the Bulls marathon.
And how'd that go for you?
I outran the bull. You don't have to be the fastest runner. You just have to outrun the slowest people.
That's what we say.
Yeah, that's our motto. But so no offense to Tud, but you're not the most agile person, and there are quite a few bulls. So
Whoa. I may not be the fastest person, but I'm damn near one of the most agile people that I know.
okay, well, that's debatable, but okay. All right. You are not the fastest person I know, nor the most agile. Is that better? So I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot of bulls and not as many, I guess there's a ton of people. I feel like there's one bull for most people. So you must have gotten the horns at one point.
Nope. My bull's name was Scotty. He was very friendly. I gave him a carrot. We were friends.
Didn't get gored.
Nope. No goring.
Okay. Well, hey, you got lucky.
So, Chris, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
So I'm my family's actually driving down from Connecticut and Milwaukee. My sister's driving down from Milwaukee. She moved there about 8 months ago now.
Is she a listener?
She's listened to a few episodes, so
So you could say whatever you want about her. She's not going to ever hear it. So.
Right. Yeah, I keep looking and I see Wisconsin up there with only 4 downloads, and I'm like, text her, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you just download it? It's fine. And then my mom and my older brother are driving down from Connecticut. They're actually on the road right now, I'm sure. My brother's a madman and is driving overnight, so they should be here sometime tomorrow.
Oh, wow. They're coming real soon then.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, everybody just wants to see CJ. They don't care about me anymore, so.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're second fiddle now, at best.
Yeah, I'm
Why
not
would they
second
ever
fiddle.
care about you
I don't
anymore? I
know.
mean, you're no longer like the child. You've replaced yourself as that child in their life.
So you're going to have a new Thanksgiving tradition then. You guys going to do anything, you think, to celebrate the season?
We're going to eat turkey. I have to bake like 3 pies. I don't know if that's tradition. We have 8 boxes of stovetop downstairs.
Well, I guess like Ted was saying, is this going to be a new tradition? I feel like you may not know it now, but even the little things that you do this Thanksgiving are going to set the precedent for when they come next time.
Ooh.
You're like, oh, we got to go and see the new, I don't know, James Bond movie. That was a Thanksgiving tradition I had for a while. It was, go to see a movie on Thanksgiving weekend. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a tradition you guys start.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
That is some wise words right there.
Very wise. Sage wisdom.
So in all seriousness, this past weekend was the annual tradition of Friendsgiving, which I learned this past weekend was actually the 10th year anniversary.
It's a big milestone.
I know.
It is a big milestone, and you guys all missed it.
Yeah.
I know.
We did miss it.
Yeah. I went 9 for 10. That's a solid A minus. But I'm sad that I missed the big anniversary. Did you guys do anything special for this being the number 10? Did you go with 10 kegs of Bud Select this year?
We actually went with 0 kegs of Bud Select.
So you just dropped the one off the front there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't Friendsgiving, is what you're saying.
Well, it was. It just, it turns out when people start moving away, you have a lot less friends to have Friendsgiving with. So getting a keg of Bud Select is not doable.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of traditions, Friendsgiving was a time of many, many traditions. One of which is I always would cook the turkey in a trash can, which I actually got from Chris's dad. He was the one who first I ever saw do it, and I emulated that. But I was happy to hear that Nick carried on the tradition and cooked the trash can turkey this year. It looked pretty good.
Yeah. My dad even commented on the book, saying it looked good.
It came out very good. The thermometer was broken the entire time, which we did not realize until we were like, why is it still so low for a temperature? And this was after, it had been in the coals for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we had to perform an immediate, excavation of the turkey and found out that it was perfectly done. So it turned out really good, despite the fact that
Friendsgiving miracle.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys get silly drunk afterwards?
A little bit, nothing too crazy.
But how did you? Because there's no Bud Select.
Well, that's why he said a little.
Oh, okay. Okay. I understand now. So you didn't have the hard stuff.
Right. And I was told to come back and inform both of you guys that the friends group would like you guys to make this a yearly pilgrimage for yourselves to come back to Connecticut.
Or they could come to Tennessee.
Or they could come to Montana.
I think you have to start coming back.
Or they could come down to Tennessee.
No, I am sad that I missed it this year. And this is going to be my first year not having trash can turkey in nigh on a decade here. But, traditions all must come to an end eventually.
Well, since it's this day of stuffing your face, I want to know, what drinks are you guys thankful for today?
That's an excellent question, Chris.
Exactly.
I think I'll go first this week, if you guys don't mind.
No, go ahead.
What if we did mind?
Then you could go. Todd, take it away.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Flip off. Flip off. Flip off.
I'm actually thankful for a beer that I got from Tennessee this week. This is a special guest brew from co-host Chris, who last time we met up briefly in Connecticut, he gave me beer from, I think, a previously featured brewery on the podcast, Southern Grist Brewing. I'm drinking their Capri Sun, and it's a Gosa, and going with the Thanksgiving theme, it's got a cranberry flavor to it, and I'm just gonna go right for it. That's a good Gosa right there. They did a really good job of balancing the really tartness of a Gosa with the sweeter elements. I get a strong cranberry, some other red berries, maybe a raspberry or strawberry in here. Obviously, it's called Capri Sun because it's a bright red hue and it tastes like a Capri Sun, sort of, like an alcoholic version. But this is really good.
Right. It sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I think I have one in my fridge as well. I just have not drank it yet.
You probably do. So that's part of their, what they call their Hill series.
I see that. Yeah, it says Hill on the front of the can here.
So it's Capri Sun Hill, and it's a series of sours that they do, and they're spectacular. They're just, I mean, every one I've had is amazing, but the Capri Sun was pretty cool because it plays on those childhood heartstrings and is a delicious beer.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was going to ask, actually, is there really a Capri Sun Hill in Tennessee?
I don't think so.
No, I think they're all called. All of their sours are called Hill series, right? You're saying?
Not all of them, but there is a series of sours
Right.
called Hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I'm gonna give this delicious, sweet and tart Capri Sun. I'm gonna rate this I'm gonna be a little generous. I'm gonna give this a 4. This is a very good beer.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, cool.
So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Chris. Chris, what are you drinking tonight?
So much in the same vein as you, I am thankful for this beer that you actually gave to me when we met in that parking lot where I gave you the beer that you gave me. Whatever I just said.
What a creepy beer exchange that must have been.
Yeah,
Hey,
we
it was in Jewett City, okay?
we traveled several thousand miles to exchange beer in a parking lot.
Right. Not in the middle either. We just went.
Well out of the way.
Yeah. So I'm drinking. Yeah.
Ooh.
It must be seltzer.
It's seltzer again. Damn me and my seltzer. Oh, I just spilt it all over myself. Oh, God. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, it's so cold. Son of a bitch.
This is great.
Oh, no. It's all over my leg. It's gross.
Ah.
All right.
So
Okay.
now it looks like you peed yourself.
That's fine. No one's going to see me.
What are the cats gonna think?
Oh, my God. Oren, he's so disgraced. So I'm drinking a cold smoked Scotch ale from Kettle House Brewing, which is over in Missoula, Montana. It is really, really dark, as you could expect from a Scotch ale, and I'm going to try it right now.
Kettle House is the name of the brewery, right, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, they're out of Missoula, which is about 3 hours south of me. I have yet to make it down there, but almost every bar in Montana has this beer. And it's, I won't ruin the flavor. Chris, why don't you describe the flavor for a little bit, and then I'll talk about the brewery.
It's really good. It's nice and dark. It's smooth, and you get like a little bit of a sweet coffee finish on it. And I don't know. It's something that I probably wouldn't pick up normally walking through a liquor store or Packy or whatever. But this one's pretty solid. I'm more recently getting into Scotch ales, so I can't really describe them as well as some of the other beers that I like. But it's good.
Yeah.
I don't know what constitutes it being a Scotch ale. Like,
So this is a beer brewed in the Scottish style, and it is not supposed to taste like Scotch. So this is a traditional Scotch ale, and it's not aged in Scotch barrels or anything like that. This is,
I did not know that.
yeah, it's nothing to do with Scotch the drink, and more to do with
so
Scotland.
it's Scottish. It's not Scotch.
Yeah, right.
So it's a mind game when I drink these Scotch ales and I think that they taste like Scotch then.
Well, some people are not faithful to the traditional style when they brew a Scotch ale. They might brew a beer with Scotch and call it that, but this is the traditional style.
Gotcha. So I'm not a Scotch ale guy at all. I never have been. Not a Scotch guy either.
Okay. Yeah, but I would say Cold Smoke, it's a very smooth, dark, like buttery mouthfeel, very smooth on the palate drink for a beer. Yeah, you don't get those smoky flavors that you would from, even though it's called Cold Smoke, you don't get those smoky flavors. And the reason it's called Cold Smoke, and I'm sure Chris will post the picture on the Instagram of the front of the can, is that's what we call a really dry snow here in Montana. And when you're skiing in the snow that's really super fine powder, it looks like cold smoke. So that's where the name of the beer comes from.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I mean, there is a man skiing on the front, or a person skiing on the front, I should say.
Yeah, and like I said, this is one of my go-tos. I never have, my fridge is very rarely out of cold smokes. This and Moose Drool, I think, are the two most popular beers in western Montana, and for good reason.
Yeah, it's a very solid beer. And it's not too, I mean, it's dark, but it doesn't taste heavy. And
right, it's like kind of like a Guinness in that regard.
Yeah. I could say that. Not as dry as a Guinness, obviously, but This is 6.5% alcohol, and I'm gonna give it like a solid 3.75 out of 5. I think it's pretty solid. I could easily drink a couple of these. Very, very, very solid beer.
Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm glad you enjoyed the Capri Sun Hill. So that leaves one more drink to be thanked upon, and that's whatever Tud is drinking tonight. So, Tud, what are you drinking?
Yes, so tonight I am actually drinking a whiskey. This is not mixed. It's not, there's nothing done to doctor this up. All it is whiskey with one ice cube in it. It is a Midwinter's Night Dram by High West Distillery out of Park City, Utah. So this, one of my coworkers was out at the Total Wine and saw 2 bottles of this, so he ended up picking up both of them and asked me if I wanted the bottle. And I said, sure. And I asked him how much the bottle was, and he said it was a little too late for that. So,
So we're all thankful for someone else providing our drinks tonight.
Correct. So, this is by far the most expensive whiskey I've ever bought in my life. It's really good. For those of you out there who may not be big whiskey fans or big bourbon fans, I can try to describe a little bit of the flavor. It's very, to me, very caramelly, a little bit of smoke to it, but nothing crazy. It's very smooth compared to something like a Jack Daniel's or, a Maker's Mark. It is a rye whiskey, so it is going to be in the same type of style as a Maker's Mark.
So I don't know that much about whiskey.
Well, lucky for you, sir, we are going to do we're going to be bringing in a new segment right now called Liquor Cabinet.
Ooh.
Oh yeah? Is this where you get to tell us all about different kinds of liquor, starting with whiskey?
This is where we're going to tell people and give people information about different types of hard alcohols that we will be drinking on this show.
So is this the kind of liquor cabinet that like kids try to get into and like be cool with their friends?
No, this is one of those really nice ones that is locked, and if the kids ever broke into it, the dad would murder them.
Oh, okay. So this is a fancy liquor cabinet. This is Daddy's nighttime medicine liquor cabinet.
Correct.
Okay.
This is in a room that's full of, that's lined with cedar with really dark leather sofas, and there's probably a humidor over in the corner as well.
I'm really thirsty now after we talk about this liquor cabinet. I just want to try some of this whiskey. So Todd, tell us a little bit about whiskey and the different variations and all about your whiskey.
Sure. So we're going to dive into the difference between a bourbon whiskey and a Scotch whiskey, which are by far the 2 most common whiskeys that any of our listeners of the pod are going to run into.
Oh, cool.
Now, question for you. I've heard that for it to be called bourbon, it has to be made in Kentucky. Is that true?
That is not true.
Oh, really?
Yes. So under U.S. law, there are 6 things that need to apply in order for it to be considered quote unquote bourbon whiskey. So number 1, it needs to be produced in the United States. Number 2, it needs to be made from a grain mixture that is at least 51% corn or maize. It needs to be aged in new charred oak containers, so most likely charred oak barrels, distilled to no more than 160 U.S. proof, entered into the barrel aging for no more than 125 proof, and bottled, like other whiskeys, at 80 proof or more.
Oh, wow. So it has to tick all those boxes in order to be considered bourbon.
Correct.
Oh, interesting.
And then in order for it to be considered straight bourbon, there are 2 more boxes that need to be ticked. Bourbon that is labeled as straight has been aged under 4 years must be labeled with the duration of its aging. And bourbon that has been aged or that has an age stated on its label must be labeled with the age of the youngest whiskey in the bottle. So what happens with a lot of these whiskeys? Yeah, what happens with a lot of these whiskeys is they'll blend old whiskey with new whiskey to kind of balance out the flavors and to basically continue on the lineage of that whiskey further down the line. So in basically every single batch of bourbon, you're drinking something that's significantly younger and significantly older than what you would expect it to be.
Wow, that's really cool. And you said that date has to reflect the youngest whiskey or the oldest?
Correct. The youngest.
The youngest. Okay.
But in most of your bottles, you're going to be getting something that contains something much older, and it could be older than the person who's drinking the bottle of whiskey, depending on how it's mixed. So you could drink something that's, you could be drinking some whiskey that's 40 years old mixed in with your 4-year-old whiskey.
Huh. That seems like that would be a waste of 40-year-old whiskey if it's sold under 4-year whiskey.
Well, yeah, I think there's that's probably when you get into your higher cost bottles like the Pappy Van Winkle and the for example, the Midwinter Night Dram that I'm drinking. Those are aged slightly longer or have slightly older mash grain to it to go with the younger one.
So I know you're not drinking a bourbon, but does it have an age on your bottle?
It does not. The only thing that my bottle says is that it's Act 16-4. I don't know what that means.
Well, I'm assuming that's a reference to Midsummer Night Dream, which is the Shakespeare play that the title of your whiskey is a play on words of.
Oh, well, there you go.
So anyways, Todd, you were going to explain the difference between a bourbon and a Scotch. So what do you have to do to be a Scotch?
So a Scotch whiskey, obviously, as per its name, it has to be distilled in Scotland, and it also has distinct things that have to be done to it by law to be considered a Scotch. But all Scotches are made from malted barley and with a blend of wheat and rye. So in order for them to be considered a Scotch, they have to meet these ticks on the box. It has to be produced at a distillery in Scotland from water and malted barley, all of which have been processed at the distillery into a mash, converted at a distillery into a fermentable substrate only by indigenous enzyme systems, fermented at the distillery only by adding yeast, distilled by an alcoholic strength by volume of less than 94.8% or 190 US proof. The Scotch must then be wholly matured in an excise warehouse in Scotland in oak casks of a capacity not exceeding 700 liters, which was 185 US gallons for at least 3 years. They must retain the color, aroma, and taste of the raw materials used in, and the method of its production and maturation, contain no added substances other than water and caramel coloring, and comprise of a minimum alcoholic strength of 40%, aka 80 proof. All those things, I know it's a lot of words, come up to what Scotch is.
Basically, let me try and sum it up real quick, is that it's got to be distilled in Scotland using Scottish technique, no artificial junk that goes in it, and aged in Scotland.
Correct.
More or less. I mean, there's some other things too.
Yeah, it seems like everything has to come from Scotland. So even, when it was talking about the yeast, it's talking about indigenous enzymes from Scotland.
It does seem like there's a loophole, though, that if you get your grain from outside of Scotland, that's okay.
Yeah. There's nothing that says that the grain can't be grown outside of Scotland, but I'm sure probably in today's day and age it's probably grown outside of Scotland.
Yeah, but all the brewing process and everything has to take place. By brewing I mean like the mashing and the distilling and the aging. All of that has to take place in Scotland.
Correct. Scotches tend to have a peaty taste to them too. So for people out there, that's the smoky flavor that you get on a lot of Scotches. Scotches are not my.
What did you say? Pee-pee?
Peaty.
Peaty.
Oh, okay.
Peaty.
It's got a good pee-pee taste. You want to avoid the poo-poo taste. That's no good.
Good pee-pee, no poo-poo.
Okay, peaty taste.
Yeah,
got it.
peaty, which AKA is like the campfire taste that you would get on a lot of Scotch.
Okay.
Bourbons tend to be a lot more sweet than Scotches. Scotches tend to be a lot more, for lack of a better term, alcohol-y tasting. Boozy, because they're not adding in. So like with bourbons, like you can add in something to make it taste sweeter. But with Scotch, you can't adjust the flavor, so you're going to get a lot of the booze and a lot of the peatiness that bourbons don't really have.
Bourbon it's corn based, and corn has a lot of sugar in it by volume. So I imagine that you're going to get a lot of that sweetness is going to come through into your bourbon.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Ted, you're drinking a whiskey now.
Yep.
Which do you prefer of the two liquors in the cabinet right now? Do you prefer the bourbon, or do you prefer the Scotch more?
I 100% prefer bourbon more. I'm actually not a big Scotch drinker. I've tried in the past to become a Scotch drinker, and it's just not for me. And I've basically learned that in America, at least, I can get American whiskey everywhere I can get Scotch. So I'll drink the bourbon, I'll drink the rye whiskey, I'll drink whatever else kind of American whiskey you want to discern from that. But I'll avoid Scotch like the plague just because it's just not my thing.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, let's close the cabinet door on our liquor cabinet for this week. Oh, we gotta put some oil on that for next episode. We do liquor cabinet.
Yeah, Dad's got to get on making sure that his liquor cabinet stays in tip-top shape.
Right.
Yeah, that'll make a much better audio cue when we. All right, it's time to open the liquor cabinet.
Ooh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that nice lubricated door?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that was good, Ted. I learned a lot about both bourbon and Scotch, so that's cool.
Thank you.
So since we're listening to this on Thanksgiving, what is your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It is a really good question.
I mean, really, this might be a cop-out, but I really enjoy the leftover sandwich.
Ooh.
The day after.
No,
Yeah.
see, I got to tell you, that's not a cop-out because I think that's also my favorite part.
It's really like all the ingredients mixed together, which is really, I think, what makes Thanksgiving so good. But
like if we could just skip the whole like Thanksgiving meal part and just skip right to the sandwiches part.
Just
I
cook
think
the
I would
turkey, carve it up, put it in the fridge.
Come back to it the next day
Yeah.
and then eat it. No, but on the actual day, I think it's probably a tie between the turkey itself, because obviously you don't really eat turkey for 99% of the year outside of what it seems like the 2 weeks before and the 2 weeks after Thanksgiving.
And deli sandwiches.
Yeah, and but even then, that doesn't taste the same as like
Right.
Very
real
true.
turkey.
Yeah, I hear you.
So turkey, and then probably stuffing, because it's also, one of those things where you don't eat it outside of this one portion of the year.
Oh yeah,
At
I
least
love
I don't.
stuffing.
Oh, me too.
Those would be I think that's a tie for me.
That's
Now,
fair.
Chris, what about you? What's your favorite food on Thanksgiving?
So the stovetop is probably my favorite dinner food. And I know that sounds terrible because my mom hates it because she used to go through the trouble of making homemade stuffing and this, that, and the other thing.
Would you stuff it in the bird?
Sometimes, yeah, but then she would have like a big pan.
Fun
of it.
fact, by the way, if you're not eating the quote unquote stuffing that comes out of the bird, it's not considered stuffing.
What do you call it then?
Dressing.
Oh,
Because the name stuffing comes from the fact that it was stuffed up something.
makes sense. But I don't like dressing.
Yeah, no, it's stuffing.
Yeah.
But that is a fun fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she would go through all the trouble of making this homemade stuffing, and every year we would be like, "Where's the stovetop?" Until she started making stovetop, and then it just became, she made stovetop and her stuff, but then we just eat the stovetop. So then she just makes stovetop. She absolutely hates it.
Oh man.
We have like a big like Sam's Club box downstairs, and I'm pretty excited about that.
I have to tell you that stovetop stuffing is the worst stuffing. Just my opinion. Pepperidge Farm all the way.
Well, I mean, I can kick you off the podcast. Hold on. I'm gonna kick you right now. But I will say I love myself a good slice or half of an apple pie. I don't know. My mem used to make like a homemade apple pie that I would just devour, and
Wait, are we just going to gloss over the fact that you said half an apple pie?
I felt like people know my style by now, but
I heard that as half a slice, so I'm glad that you brought my attention back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? It depends.
You know those cartoons where like you get like the mouse that like cuts like a piece of the cake and then takes like the rest of the cake.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally me.
Chris leaves the slice.
Yeah, Chris leaves a slice. It's like all you other people, you can share this one slice. I'm gonna eat, 7/8 of this pie.
Yeah, no, that's definitely me when it comes to pie. And but yeah, recently I've been baking the pie at Thanksgiving, so it's been pretty good. I can make a pretty banging apple pie. So those are my.
You said you're making 3 pies this year, huh?
Yeah. So I have to make it.
Which ones are you making?
I'll probably make my.
There better be a pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll probably make my apple pie. I'll probably make a pumpkin pie because Dana loves pumpkin pie, and my pumpkin pie. And I make it pretty good. And then I make like a really good chocolate cream pie. So
I have to kind of doubt your pie making skills because you like stovetop.
Man, you can doubt my. No, you can't. You can't doubt my baking skills. I'm like a baking extraordinaire.
So those pies sound pretty good, Chris. I'm excited to see on the Insta how they all come out.
Yeah, I'm hoping they come out pretty good. So, but I am curious. Like, I don't get to watch the news very often. So this is my only chance to keep up on current events is this podcast. So, Todd?
Speaking of cranberries, what are the current events?
Yes. So we really need like theme music for this part.
Well, we
do. What is the
I was
news?
gonna say we need a name for it, but
So, just to bring this segment back in, as you all are aware, what we do is I will give Obert and Chris 2 parody news headlines as well as 1 real news headline, and they will have to discern which headline is the real news headline. I have kept track of our records through the 3 weeks that we've been doing this. So far, Chris, you're at 2-2. Obert, you're at 3-1.
I'm coming for you.
Yep.
Keep in mind they started equal, so Chris is not really coming for him. He's just losing ground.
I'm catching up to him. I'm gonna get you.
So, circling around.
So news article 1 today.
So again, we're doing 2 real, 1 fake this time.
No, 2 fake, 1 real.
2 fake, 1 real. Pick the real headline.
Correct.
Okay. Hit me with them.
Metropolitan Museum of Art acquires another vase.
I like that.
Browns, as in the NFL team.
Cleveland, comma.
Yeah, Cleveland Browns want to interview former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice for the head coaching job.
Okay.
NBC unveils an on-screen graphic informing audience they are watching football.
And this is pick the real one?
This is pick the real story.
Ooh, okay.
I think I have my answer.
I think I got mine too.
Obert, because you are the champion, you get to decide, do you want Chris to go first, or do you want to go first?
I think Chris and I both know that Condoleezza Rice is going to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's totally what I was going to pick. You should totally lock in your answer now.
So what do you think it is, Chris?
Sounds like there's some disagreement. So, Chris,
I think it's the NBC one because that's just ridiculous enough for them to do.
So, Obert is correct.
What?
All right.
No.
Yes, ESPN reported today, Adam Schefter even, that the Browns want to interview former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice for the head coaching job.
No, that can't be right.
That is the most Browns thing that ever has happened. And I look forward to Condoleezza Rice being the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Me too. I think I've just read too many Onion articles because I could just picture the headlines from the first and third one. That's what they would say. I feel like the Condi being interviewed for the Browns coaching job is almost like stranger than fiction. Almost like not even the Onion could make that up.
But it doesn't make any. I don't get it.
She's got good leadership skills.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't know a damn thing about football, but
Hey, how do you know?
The last head coach, so.
That's true.
I mean,
she might know more about football than you.
Maybe, probably.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's just. Wow. Okay.
I think you would make a pretty good head coach for the Browns, Todd.
I think I would be an excellent head coach for the Browns because I'd actually use my good players to move the offense forward.
That's a bold strategy. I'm surprised you'd go with that direction.
See if it pays off for him, Cotton.
Yeah, it's a weird strategy. All right, so after that round, Chris, you are 2-3, lifetime record. Obert, 4-1. And moving on to the next round, this is where we switch it up, and I give you 2 real headlines and 1 fake headline.
So pick the fake one.
You got to pick the fake one.
Okay.
So, Pfizer unveils new double-sided EpiPen. Cannibal turns himself into police holding a human hand and foot and says, I am tired of eating human body parts.
I believe I could see that one.
Or Iceland's president admits he went too far with threat to ban pineapple pizza.
I could believe that one too, though.
I know. Oh, man. Oh, let's see.
Read that last headline for me one more time.
Sure. Iceland's president admits that he may have gone too far by trying to ban pineapple pizza.
I think I'm going to go with number 3.
Damn it. I was thinking the same thing.
You can pick with me.
I know, but then...
So keep in mind, you are looking for the parody news headline out of this.
I know.
Oh, I was looking for the real one. Sorry. Let me take that again. All right. I believe 2 and I believe 3. I think I'm going to go with number 1. I think number 1 is not real.
So you believe there is no double-sided EpiPen?
I'm going with number 3 then. I'm jumping in where Obert left.
So Obert's right again.
Damn it. God damn it.
He's really good at this game.
Clean it up.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So lifetime record for Obert, 5-1. Lifetime record for Chris, 2-4.
Well, hold on. We got to talk about this because I don't think the president has to apologize for anything because the fact that pineapple is allowed on pizza is ridiculous.
I agree with that. It's like putting cranberry sauce in your turkey leftovers.
I mean,
sweet doesn't belong on a pizza.
like anybody, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Todd, do you eat pineapple on your pizza?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm not going out of my way to order a Hawaiian pizza.
Okay, all right. I guess.
Like if it's there, I'm not going to say no to the pizza just because it has pineapple on it.
But you'll say no if there's pepperoni.
Yes.
That blows my mind.
I mean,
there.
To be honest, I'll probably pull the pepperoni off each pizza anyways. Without the pepperoni.
Pull off the pepperoni? Oh, man. Ugh, I don't know. Beyond me. All right, so...
What was that second headline?
Yeah, what was the second one?
The second headline was...
The
Cannibal turned himself into police holding human hand and foot and said, I am tired of eating human body parts.
As if it wasn't his choice. Like, or maybe, do you think he killed...
I know, it's kind of scary.
It is.
Because maybe he got the taste.
Maybe.
He got the taste and was like, I can't go back now.
Yeah, I've never tried to eat a body part, so I can't say that. Maybe it's really delicious. Maybe it's like the most delicious thing you've ever eaten.
It's like that day that you transition from stovetop to Pepperidge Farm dressing, and you realize, I can't. How was I living my life without this?
Right, you just can't go back. Now he's like, I can't go back to eating a cow anymore. I must eat more humans.
Or do you think it was because he killed like a very, very large person, and he's been eating that same person for days on days on days, and he's like, you know what, I'm done. Like there's no more to eat.
Kind of like when you guys make chili at your house.
Yeah. He got chilied out, except with the human body. So,
and I would imagine that the feet and hands are probably part of the least appetizing part of a human to eat.
Right. His wife was like, "Oh, look what I made," and he was like, "Oh, damn it, you made another giant human."
More Steve again. I'm so sick of Steve.
I'm so sick of Steve. You have to eat some leftover Steve.
Wouldn't the hands be more like hot dogs though? Because like you chop the fingers off, put them on a nice bun.
I think they'd be more like chicken wings, where you kind of got to eat around the bone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got to deep fry them and throw some sauce on them.
Or a corn dog.
Right, with the stick.
Yeah.
I was going to say, are we going for the bone as the hot dog part of the corn dog?
No.
I have a really good recipe for fingers. cut it lengthwise. You take out the bone. You stuff it with a little bit of cheddar cheese and sliced jalapeno. Bake that at 350 for 15 minutes. And you got yourself a nice little finger popper there.
Ooh, like a finger jalapeno popper. I like it.
Yeah.
Was that on Meal Lime?
Yeah, that's where I got that
Okay,
recipe.
all right. It must be one of the paid recipes. Cause...
Yes, yeah. Premium for the cannibalism package.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get that one. So.
Okay, so
thank you for joining us on. What is the news?
Yeah. Wow. You guys ready for a question?
Do you feel lucky, punk? Well,
do you?
Do you?
So, Chris, I know that you're very guilty of this yourself, so I figured this was a perfect question to bring to the pod. Why do older people use so many dots in their messages? And then it goes on to go ... question mark.
Oh, man.
So,
if there's one thing Chris does when he texts,
it's use too many dots.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not too many.
It's too many.
It's too many.
No. Too many is ... You
use them too frequently.
Yes.
I use the ellipses, and I use it more frequently than other people. But I am a very dramatic talker, so
the dots are supposed to be for showing disappointment, or for dramatic effect, or for something along that line.
Trail off in the middle of a sentence.
I am always trailing off.
Right. So this user is named Street Cat, and Street Cat, his question is why do older people use so many dots in their messages? And then he says, first of all, this is definitely one of my pet peeves. People from my family, teachers, and many others use unnecessary dots in their messages. In my mind, it changes the whole tone of the text. It makes it somewhat passive-aggressive, or at least makes you think it has some hidden meaning. However, it seems like older people don't think about it that way. Some of them even use dots after every sentence. Does anyone know why? What do the dots mean to them, and why is it a universal occurrence to text like that? Thanks, I appreciate your help.
I'm going back to some messages here from Chris.
I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I guess the person we need to ask here, Chris, is why do you use so many dots?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I do not know, because I do it all the time.
I think I use more ellipses than an average person, and I think Chris uses about 4 times as many as I do, which is probably on the low end.
I can simply say I never use them unless I'm using it for dramatic effect.
I see. That was my point. I'm a very dramatic talker, so I have to make sure that I have the proper effect in there. However, when I type when I type out a sentence and I use a period, it looks weird to me. So I think I have a problem.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I shouldn't do that. I should look and see, instead of how many times he uses ... I should see how many times he does that versus a period. So just going through.
Almost never.
Right.
Just a single period.
Ellipses. I'm going to count ellipses versus periods. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 2 dots there. I don't know if you missed one. Exclamation point.
Those are 2 periods.
Dot. I had no idea you didn't use periods. I see 9 ellipses, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, I don't think you've ever sent me a text with a period. At least not in the last 6 months have you sent me a text with a period.
Yeah, that tracks.
So you are directly the person that Street Cat wants an answer from.
So I do it at work too. We have the messaging system at work, and I always use ellipses. My emails, no. My emails, I professionalize them up, but yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm old. I mean, Street Cat said it. It's because I can't see the spaces, so I have to put the dots in there. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why. That's really funny. Yep, nope. It's because I'm old. I mean, it's old people code. That's what it is. You won't understand. I'm secretly talking about you in my ellipses. You know what's funny? Everybody that knows me is going to be like, "Oh my God, yes."
Yeah. Whenever we get a text message from Chris, it just frequently sounds like he's just continuously trailing off.
Yeah,
Like he's not
or
sure.
constantly disappointed in you for some reason.
Yeah. Because the common one I'll get is a yeah, ... Which
Yeah.
I think he means to be like, yeah. Instead it's like, I read it as a, yeah.
Yeah, there's no need for the ... after the yeah. It's yeah. Do you want ice cream? Yes. Not yes ... It's like, are you disappointed in me for getting the ice cream?
Right.
Like,
You're conflicted about the ice cream.
yeah. How do you really feel about this ice cream? Am I not going to the right ice cream shop? Like,
I'm reading text messages that I've sent to my protege Alex, and I mean it's like at least every other text has ... in it and no periods.
I wouldn't be surprised if after your gender reveal party, if you sent out like a text to people being like, it's a boy ...
yeah.
Man, actually, I don't know. I have it posted on Facebook. I think there was exclamation points, but still. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny. So
Just a constant state of disapproval.
Sorry.
It's funny that we've never talked about this on the pod. I don't think I've ever talked about it with Chris before, but I've had conversations with people being like, why does Chris use so many ellipses?
I've definitely had that conversation with Caitlin before. I was like, I think Chris is mad at me. And she's like, why? I'm like, he puts ... after everything.
Yeah, no, I definitely do, and I'm generally not mad. So, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a mask, like so I can be mad. That's what it is.
Well, I'm going to say next time I get text from Chris and he's like, yeah, period, I'm going to be like, oh, shit. What did I do?
Now he's angry.
Now he's pissed.
He's using proper punctuation.
Yeah, period. I can't wait, period. I'm like, oh, boy.
Are we recording tonight?
I did something to piss Chris off.
This is not the right thing. Oh, God. All right. So sorry, cat person, whoever asks this question.
Street cat.
Street cat. Sorry, street cat. I have no idea. That's pretty funny though.
I'm honestly half surprised our podcast isn't titled "Drinking Alone ... with friends," like married with children.
Yeah, I got the comma in there.
Yeah, we do got the comma.
Every once in a while, he knows how to use proper punctuation.
I know how to use proper punctuation. I just choose not to all the time.
I mean, we could ask our freshman year English teacher, and I think she would disagree with wholeheartedly with that.
I am twice the age I was when I was in 9th grade. How old are you in 9th grade? Over twice the age. I know how to write.
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Just for all the listeners out there who don't know, in 9th grade, our English teacher told Chris that he wrote at a 4th grade level.
I was going to say, well...
And ...
Well, ...
And ...
I also didn't read whatever we were supposed to read, and I didn't write the paper until the night before. So, got me a little bit. The 4th grade level's pretty good on that kind of preparation.
You plagiarized better than most 4th graders, right? So.
At least it was my own words.
Yeah. Well, it's that time of the episode, folks, where we start to wrap up. We share a little bit of our frosty mug of wisdom with each other and the listeners. And Todd, why don't you pick up the mug this week first and give us a little something?
Sure. So this week I kind of struggled with what to choose, and I'm actually going to recommend a book.
Okay. Now, the way you say that, and the way that you reach over to that book, kind of implies that you decided that literally mid-sentence.
Not going to lie, that may have occurred. But the book is the fabulous Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I don't know if any of you guys have read it, but it is...
I have not.
Me neither.
It is a book written by a guy in 1937 who basically interviewed a whole bunch of the richest people in the world for that time and came up with a thought process and a an ideology about how to become rich. And it's one of like the best-selling books of all time. I just bought it because I had heard some really good reviews from people that I work with and respect, and they had told me that it was one of the better books that they had ever read in their life. So I picked it up on Amazon for $13. I recommend everybody else go buy it.
And that title again is?
Think and Grow Rich for Men and Women Who Resent Poverty by Napoleon Hill.
And it was written in the 30s?
It was written in 1937.
Are you done with the book yet?
No, I'm about halfway through.
Any quick tips you can share with the audience, or do they gotta pay?
Well, I can say that I can safely say that I'm not rich currently, so I don't know if it's really working.
Well, you're not done with the book yet either, so.
That is true. So basically, what he says in like the opening is, some people will get it in like the first chapter of, how to think and grow rich, and other people's it may take all the way to like the last chapter, or you might have to read it multiple times. So I don't know if that was just a clever, marketing ploy by him to say, keep on reading my book.
Multiple copies. I don't know. We'll keep reading. One of us will get rich. It might be me. It might be you. We'll find out.
It is written in kind of 1930s English, so it's very much different from the way we would speak now. And it was written in, as I said, 1937. So anybody who knew the world at the time, it was just right after the Great Depression. It was during the middle of World War II. So it's very interesting how this book reads.
Yeah, right at the start of World War II, I guess. Right. Yeah, and they're like, I don't know how this whole Hitler guy is going to shake out, but...
Yeah, they're still cautiously optimistic about him.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that whole annexing Poland thing?
Crazy, huh?
So, Obert, what's your handle?
Well, on this Thanksgiving episode, I wanted to share, a little bit of my Thanksgiving tradition with you guys, my friends, and the listening audience here. Every year on Thanksgiving at noon, I tune in the local radio station to Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie. I think it's a universal thing. It's on every radio station, but I've never been anywhere where I couldn't find it on at least some station.
Do they play it on a repeat?
Nope, it's on at noon local time, Thanksgiving, every year.
Wait, what?
Yep.
It's a 20 or so minute ballad about a lot of things, but it starts off talking about, going to the dump on Thanksgiving and trying to get rid of your trash and how that might inadvertently get you out of the draft. So
And I can safely say I don't think I've ever heard this song all the way through.
Okay. Well, you know what? This year, I don't know what you're going to be doing at noon. Maybe this is before you listen to our podcast. Maybe it's after you listen to our podcast. Maybe it's during and you got to pause. But I recommend you turn it on with your family, the radio, and just listen to a song all about, taking trash to the dump on Thanksgiving to find out the dump's closed. So you got to throw the trash off the side of a cliff, and then you get arrested and you got to go to court for littering. It's a pretty wild story, but growing up every year I would be driving to Syracuse, New York for Thanksgiving. We'd always be driving on Thanksgiving Day, and tell you what, it was a welcome relief to the drive to have like 20 minutes of it just be Alice's Restaurant. We'd look forward to it for like the whole, be like, it's 11 o'clock, an hour till Alice's Restaurant, and it made the drive go by a lot faster. So that's my memory of the song, and that's why I wanted to share it. So if you're traveling this Thanksgiving Day, and it happens to be noon, tune in your radio, just scan around, and I'm sure you'll find it.
How have I never heard of this song before?
It's a folk song. Arlo Guthrie's father was Woody Guthrie. He wrote "This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land."
No, I know who Arlo Guthrie is. I just don't know. I've
Arlo,
never heard
yeah.
Or Arlo.
We're best friends.
Maybe I don't know who he is. But like, huh.
Yeah, so when I first met Dana, she had the same tradition with her family. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. She would always I think the first few years we were together, she was like, "Oh, it's almost noon. We have to listen to this song." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't get it, but She had this. She had the same. This has or had the same tradition. So I think we missed it the last year or two, but probably more my fault than anything else.
Now set your alarm for 11:50 this year.
Tell Alexa to play it.
Now, yeah, I was just
I
going to
know
say
it's not
now.
the same now that you have music on demand because you don't have to wait a whole year to hear the song. You know,
I was just going to say, couldn't I just ask Spotify to play it for me?
if you wanted to hear the song, you had to wait till Thanksgiving, and you could only hear it once a year because I mean I wasn't going to buy the CD or anything, but now you could just find it. It kind of takes some of the specialness out of it, but.
Huh. All right. Well, I will let you know this. I'm going to listen to this song. I'm not going to wait till noon on Thanksgiving to do so. I'm going to listen to it probably on my ride to work tomorrow.
Okay, then.
It is a 20-minute song, so you do have to dedicate a good portion of your day to listening to it.
Yeah, and I tell you, after listening to it for the last 29 years, I don't know if I quote every word, but I could probably come pretty close. So with that, Chris, take us home with our final handle here.
So my handle this week on to finish the Frosty Mug of Wisdom is another video game. And I know you're saying, what, does this guy only play video games? And I mean,
What? Does this guy only play video games?
yeah. Well, ... I don't I don't know if it's all I do.
Video games and ellipses, that's all this guy's got.
Yeah, video games and ellipses. But I recently picked up a little piece of childhood, and that's the new Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and it is the 3 Spyro games that were released for the PS1, revamped and revitalized and put onto the PS4. And this is a game that I played a lot of when I was a kid.
It's funny. So did I.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I
actually also bought this game.
Hey, it's crazy. But I played about. I think I'm just over 50% complete with the first game, and it's like riding a bike, but also a lot of fun.
It holds up to how you remember it.
Yeah, it is really good. I mean, the first game's a little on the easier side, but there's definitely been some more frustrating parts that I've been like, well, this is stupid. I'm gonna go to bed. But it's really fun. I really enjoying it.
Are there parts that you remember getting stuck at as a kid, and now you're stuck there again?
It's weird. Like, I don't remember. I remember like the first few worlds pretty well, but now I'm at a world. I'm like, did I even get this far when I was a kid? I was like, I don't remember it at all. But I feel like I know I've beaten the game. I just don't remember. So there has been some times where I'm like, I don't remember this, but it's a lot of fun. And and I'm getting everything. So I have like every piece of treasure and dragon egg and everything up until.
You know what's really cool about today's day and age? Unlike when we played it the first time, if you ever get stuck, the internet is literally in your pocket.
True.
To tell you where to go.
Very true.
See, I don't know. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I think that's what made those games so great, was that you had to figure it out, or you had to have a friend who knew, or it was much more of a sense of accomplishment than like, oh, I've been stuck for 3 minutes. Let me Google this to figure it out.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it definitely makes today's games easier.
In some regards, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know, this game, and then one other game, Croc, that I played on the PS1.
Oh, Croc! I love Croc.
Yeah, it's so good. And I used to call our friend Chris, and I don't know how old we are. We were young, and talk to him on the phone, a corded phone. They made those back then, kids. A corded phone, and actually like talk about the video game and like how far we had gotten, this, that, and the other thing. So, it's just pretty funny, pretty funny to look back on that. But now, of course, like Ted was saying, I could just be like, "Where the hell is this stupid treasure?" And my phone will tell me.
Yeah, there'll be a map and it'll say exactly right here.
Exactly.
And if you want, you can watch a video and tell you how to get to it too.
Right.
So before we close down the show, this being our Thanksgiving episode and all, I just wanted to say to both you guys and to our listeners that I want to say thanks for joining me on this journey of drinking alone with friends. I've been having a lot of fun doing the podcast with you guys so far, and it's great that we get to talk once a week, every week. And I'm really having fun doing this. And I don't think we'd keep doing it if we didn't have the listener base that's following us and that we're trying to grow and having a lot of fun with social media and all that. So to both Todd, Chris, and also the listeners, I want to say thank you for making this podcast possible. Without both of you and as well as all of our listeners, we wouldn't be doing this. So in the spirit of Thanksgiving, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks to everybody. I really appreciate it. And to Obert's point, just to touch base, I am addicted to this podcast right now. So, I love getting the emails. I love, seeing new followers. So thank you very much. Thanks to everybody. So
yeah, I couldn't say it any better myself. So I'm not even going to try. So thank you, everybody else. Thank you to both of you. Thank you to all the listeners. So with that, again, circling this back around, thank you all for listening. We'd like to thank the people who provided the drinks that we're drinking today. So I'm going to go first with thanking High West for the Midwinter's Night Dram.
I'm going to thank Kettle House Brewing for Cold Smoke Scotch Ale.
And I'm going to thank Southern Grist Brewing for their Capri Sun Hill.
Please, everybody out there, make sure to follow us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Untapped, at DAWF Podcast. Please also follow the email, dawfpodcast@gmail.com.
Especially, please, I want to reiterate that Untapped. We're looking forward to having people tag us in some beers and recommend stuff to us, and we'll take your advice. So send recs our way via Untapped.
As always, make sure that you guys are giving these episodes a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast app, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, Spotify, whatever. Make sure you're giving 5-star ratings. That way other people can find it, and also that way we can get your feedback. Make sure you're typing a little note, and whether it's just to say you really think that I'm just awesome and the best part of the pod, or that you think Chris leaves too many ... in his text messages too. Leave that in your comments.
I'd love for that to be the way we get that feedback to Chris, through reviews of his podcast.
There are 250 new reviews. Oh my lord.
Make sure you hit us up too. We have the stickers. We'll get them to you.
So I just wanted to throw this out there. I know Ted touched on it, but we're just over 400 followers on Instagram, which is awesome. I'm thinking we might do a little something when we hit 500. So go ahead and start, recommending to your friends to listen to the podcast, follow us on Instagram, all that fun stuff, because we might do a little bit of a giveaway or some kind of special when we hit 500. So just throwing that out there.
That's exciting.
But yeah.
All right. And with that, I'm Tud.
My name's Chris.
And I'm Obert. And remember, if you're drinking alone, do it with friends.
So,
you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.